Hi, it's Friday, it's 3 o'clock, and it's time for Something for the Weekend, brought to you as always by Together 2012. We're a community interest company based in the main Paralympic 2012 host borough of Newham. We're led by disabled artists, including myself, Ju Gosling. I'm artistic director, and here with me in my studio in East London, where she's been for more months than we can care to count now, is our chair, the artist, activist, and documenter Julie Newman. We're dressed up to go out to stay in because it's Friday. We've also got our teddy bears ready for the Clockwork Paralympics coming up later, along with lots of recommendations for things you can do for free at home, online or offline for the week ahead. And before that, we've got lots of art, poetry, and other activities to join in with from home. But before we come back to East
We're
London,
going to unmute them first.
oh, isn't it wonderful to have a system that works almost all of the time? We love our hosts be live. So yes, now I've managed to take executive action and unmute our co-hosts. We're going to go over to the other end of our long-wheeled virtual sofa to the West Midlands for some introductions, audio description, and you can tell us what you're dressed up to go out to stay and to do.
Okay, I will. So I'll go first. So I'm Robin Surgeoner, business director at Together 2012 and co-host of Something for the Weekend. You will see behind us some lovely velvet curtains. They are staying with us at the moment to create our studio, our lovely theatre backdrop.
I was going to.
Um,
Why don't you just pretend you're in the theatre, Robin?
okay,
After all,
with
nobody
my,
else is at the moment.
I need an ice cream in that case. Um, so today I am wearing my lovely greyy white hair, blue blue eyes behind no rimmed black armed glasses. For once, I am actually wearing jewelry as well. I'm wearing a fish, just about a fish. Sorry, I was behind, not in front of the mic. On a leather thong, I guess it's called. And then I'm wearing a black round neck T-shirt with in big white letters says Pink Floyd, and then the logo for Dark Side of the Moon. And that is because I am going to visit the dark side of the moon, and it's only a few people have ever been there, so that is my trip for today. Um, I was going to put the helmet and stuff on, but you wouldn't have heard me. So there you go.
That's actually a very good point. And coming up in just a few minutes, we have poems on the subject of the moon from this week's Pop Up Poetry Club. So that couldn't be better, really. So let's move over to your co host.
And I'm Tracy Surgeoner, and I am sitting in our studio in Sutton Coldfield. I've got long blonde hair, which today you can't see, that has been put into a nice French plait. I've got blue eyes, pale skin, and I'm wearing a light blue jumper with little bits of sparkle in. I'm not sure if you can see the sparkle. I'm wearing a dark blue scarf, neck scarf, with very bright silver trees on it. Um, and these are all just very loose and cuddly. And I'm wearing some very relaxed blue tracksuit trousers. And do you want me to tell you why now? Because I'm going to spend the week next week, um, looking after myself, looking after my own mental health. And I'm going to be delving into some meditation and self care.
And you're going to tell us a bit more about that on the week ahead after
I will.
30.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So back to East London. I'm going to go to my co host first because I'm just along for the ride, having dressed up to do the same thing as her. So, Julie.
Hello, I'm Julie. I'm the chair of Together 2012. I have gold and silver hair, which you can not see an awful lot of, but it is quite long. I have dark rimmed glasses, and today I'm wearing my brown dressing gown with the hood up. Just because I couldn't find a proper hat to go with it. So I thought this will be interesting. I can look like a little monk, a monkess, So that's fun. What we're going to do is Ju and
But you're
I.
not supposed to look like a monkess.
No, I'm not supposed to
just
look like a
before the
monkess.
audio description goes completely haywire.
No, I'm not a monkess today. I'm flying with Ju to Neverland, and we're going to find Peter Pan and have a ruck with Captain Hook on the Jolly Roger, his ship, and then we're going to have a picnic on the seashore after that.
And I think we might have a weekend of watching Peter Pan films. So, dressed up to go out, to stay in, to fly out of the window with Peter Pan to join the Lost Boys, I have a purple knitted nightcap, courtesy of our dear friend, the textile artist Alison Walker. So that's another hat she's made for the show. Thank you so much, Alison. Lockdown hair was fun for a year. This is the year of the hat. I've got green eyes, well, puffy skin around, tiny little green eyes hidden as they have been for the last couple of months behind an awful lot of puffy allergy face. I've got pale olive skin, black plastic glasses, black wrist braces. I would usually say it's silver coloured jewellery, but in fact, and it has no bearing on our outfits this week, we had a new boiler put in as an emergency, and indeed, I can't actually get back into the bedroom yet to get any jewellery. So there's no jewellery today. And under my purple dressing gown, I have a white t-shirt with a globe on it, and embroidered across in white against the globe, it says, "We can change the world." We'll introduce the teddy bears after 3:30. We always take part in the virtual bear hunt, and our teddy bears take part in the Clockwork Paralympics, competing to see which of them this week is going to get to wear a medal. But enough of that at the moment. Let's move back to this week and the Pop-Up Poetry Club. The Together Pop-Up Poetry Club is free to any disabled person and whoever you want to have with you who can access it on a Wednesday morning. It's a phone-based group at the moment. We phone you, add you to a group call, and we pay all of the costs. And each week we pick a theme, so you can also join in from home without going to the group, but you would be very welcome in the group. We mix it up a bit, but we share poems that we found. We write poems together and read our poems out and get, very positive feedback. It's a very supportive, positive atmosphere. And we also, depending on the week, do a few breathing exercises or voice exercises. And as I said earlier, today, this week's theme was the moon. So Julie has written a poem with the same title as an existing poem of mine about the moon. So the title's going to be changed. But apart from that, Julie, do you think you could read us your poem first?
I'm going to say the title because that's the way it's written. It's called Moon Song. As day leaves us, Helios, dipping down, drives her chariot into the ocean. The light fades and colours no longer shout their happy cacophony of demands for our attention. Selene rides forth into the darkening sky, a crescent on her long flowing hair, the veil embracing the air above her, and driving two white horses, her chariot shining bright, white against the sky. As the moon rises, listen to hear her song. She sings to those who sit alone, gazing upwards, longing for peace. She sings for those who dance in fields, their feet beating the rhythm of her tune. The dreamers find solace, the world sleeps on.
Thank you, Julie. So, what have we got from the West Midlands? As in, I think it's been written in the Together Pop-Up Poetry Club, but which poem are you going to read for us first?
I'm going to read Crystal Peasy's poem again called The Moon. The moon is quarter high. The moon can be seen so easily at night and daytime. Usually the sun's light is so bright that it makes the moon invisible. When we use a telescope, you can see more clearly and closer. Although the moon is only half and far away, I love so much the moon. I would love to see a full moon, but unfortunately, I never see a full moon.
And when I read that earlier, if you're watching Crystal Peasy the next time there's a full moon and the night sky is clear over East London, I'm going to contact you and plan it in advance, and I'm going to get you up and outside to see that moon, because I'm assuming your flat is the wrong side of the building to be able to see it. So this is from Dawn Barber, and it's called The Moonbeam. You are not in the sky tonight, but I hope you will be tomorrow, shining your light on us to give us more meaning in the world. I heard on the TV weather that you were turning more pink. What a clever thing you are, Moon. When you are not in the sky, I miss you. Darkness, nothing to see. Moon, will you come back to see me and beam your light tonight? Thank you, Dawn. That was lovely. And I think if we go back to the West Midlands next.
Yep, I'm going to start with one from Dwayne. So, Dwayne Bryan, a regular contributor. Again, poem is entitled The Moon. The moon shines at night with a lazy glow, and you can watch it during the night. They say the moon covers the sun and it gives you night. I believe man first landed on the moon in the 60s, and it was an amazing achievement. People were happy and everybody was in agreement. You land on the moon and you stamp your flag. You land on the moon and you feel so glad. Stars shine around the moon, and you will know the sun will shine soon. Cool.
Thank you, Dwayne. That's really evocative. Julie, I think you have one from Alison Marchant. Alison Marchant is our club's program leader. She's also an installation artist, and at the moment she's creating poems, I think, by cutting up lines from other descriptions. So this is a very interesting piece of writing and a very good technique if you want a way to start. So, Julie.
Alison Marchant, The Moon. The moon is Earth's only natural satellite, 4 times smaller than the Earth, but the same size as the sun. It can cover the sun in a solar eclipse. It orbits the Earth. Its main driver is pulling the ebb and flow of the tides. Classified as a planetary mass object and a differentiated rocky body, lacking in atmosphere, hydrosphere, or magnetic field, the moon's orbit around the Earth is just less than 28 days. It reflects sunlight. Contrasted in the night sky after the sun, the moon is the brightest celestial object.
Thank you, Alison. And that really reminds me of, I don't know, the sort of cut up techniques of the 50s and William Burroughs and so on. So I think finally you have one from Blake Jarrett Gibbons. Is that right, Robin?
That is correct. So thanks, Blake. This is called The Shine from the Moonlight. The moon, the mirror for the sun, that shines day and night, but better seen at night. The moonlight along with the stars, so lovely. Mother Nature, thank you. Sitting out in the dark, just looking up at the moon, no city lights. Oi, do me a favour and turn your torch off. You may catch people dancing in the moonlight. You'll see others with the tent camping under the moonlight, only going in when they start to drift off. Yet even get those like me crazy enough to go. If it's not raining, let's sleep out while the moon is shining with all the stars. Enjoy the fresh air. Could I do it in a city? Nah, sadly not. Too much noise, not enough tranquility. The moonlight is so relaxing. It's that light, not only through the physical darkness of the night, but also the mental darkness from within you. It's a natural delight. No wonder so many people are spotted dancing in the moonlight. The moonlight, even in the hardest times, can shine hope. Please keep shining. Shine for our key workers. Shine for our emergency services as we thank them. As we say thank you to them and thank you to you, oh wonderful moon.
And thank you to Robin, and a big thank you to Blake. So all of those poems will be up around 6 o'clock on our highlights and links page on our website, which is www.together2012.org.uk. There's a main link that says Together 2012 TV. On that first page, you will find today's recording and all of the past recordings of this show. You'll also find links first to something called highlights and links, and that will have all of the poems, the pictures, the videos that we show, and the links that we're going to recommend later. So in the meantime, next week's Pop-Up Poetry Club theme is a sunny day. If you would like to join in from home, we'd love to hear your poems. You can either send them to info@together2012.org.uk, or indeed send us a video of you reading them. That would be brilliant. But now we're going to move on to this week's Together Art Club. And the Together 2012 Art Club on a Friday runs a still life session on Zoom. It's just an hour, as all our Zoom clubs are, because we really think an hour is as long as anybody can really cope on screen, and certainly if you're doing visual work. So we also try to make the Friday session quite mindful and relaxing. Again, it's free, it's open to any disabled person who can access it, and whoever you want to have with you to support you. So do drop us a line if you're interested to info@together2012.org.uk. And that's led by Alison Marchant, and this is today's Still Life. So to give it a bit of audio description, we're looking down on a handbag. It's like an evening bag. So it's quite a modest black suede or fabric bag. It has a sort of, I don't know, bronzy clasp. It has a sort of quite a lacy, almost long strap on it. And then mixed up inside of that strap, we have a length of beads. They look like amber beads to me. Did you have anything to add, Julie?
No, I think they are amber, and perhaps slightly different colours as well, smaller ones added in.
Yes, I can see that. I'm not sure whether it's all one picture, but I've just spotted that there are some smaller beads as well. Obviously, if you come along to the group, everybody discusses the image in a lot more detail than that. So I'm just going to take that off and let's have a look at how people got on. So this first one is a painting, or sorry, I should say a pencil, and I think colours pastels
or coloured pens, possibly.
Anyway, it's a very energetic, lively piece by our trainee Eve Smith, and Eve has also done a really great job. Well done, Eve. I really like that. It's almost, the beads have become almost like a fire. It's taken on a whole life of its own, and I really like the way that you've filled the page. So next. And this one is from Dwayne Bryan, whose poem we've just heard. And I really like the way Dwayne has used quite a kind of bold line to do the outside strap in the bag. So everything else is very contained within it. And I think that's a really good effect. And then this one is by Crystal Peasy. Again, we've just heard one of Crystal's poems. Crystal, I think, has done that in a mixture of felt tip and paint for the beads. And what I love, Crystal, again, is you've really filled the whole page, this time with the bag itself. And again, you've almost got that feeling of flames from the amber beads. And this one is Glory Sengo, and Glory's managed to do that in pencil, and again, just really energetic. And I love the way that Glory's been experimenting with that, because he's been usually sending us work in felt tip, and I think that's really interesting. Well done, Glory. And then this one is Lee Brooker, and Lee's done that almost entirely in pencil. I wouldn't be surprised if we have another version come in later on where Lee's coloured it in as well. That's an absolutely beautiful drawing, Lee. Thank you very much. And then finally, this one is by Sophia. And Sophia has done a brilliant job. She's picked out all of the beads almost as individual beads. And she's also really focused on the lacy strap and really picked out the shapes in that as well. So that's great. Well done, Sophia. Did you have anything? Yeah, did you have anything you'd like to say about that, Tracy, as our resident art club expert?
Yeah, I think they were all really impressed. I think Lee's picture is really good, and he's sent something in quite often, and I'm just really impressed with the beading detail was really good on all of the pictures. I enjoyed looking at those.
And
Really
I
good.
think I think it says a lot about the way the club's being run and also how people are participating, that they're managing it over Zoom, because it's a group of artists. You know, everybody's got different access needs. Some of those people are visually impaired, Lee's deaf. You know, it's not the easiest thing to facilitate when we're all together in the same room. So, you know, when you've got Zoom and you've got tiny little phone screens and things, you know, I think, yeah, big congratulations to all of them. And now we're just going to look back a couple of days to Tuesday's Art Club. And the Tuesday Art Club is still for an hour, but it's got a very different focus and, yeah, a very different ethos. If Friday is mindful, Tuesday is make and natter. So what we encourage people to do is either bring their own craft projects along, you know, because it's great to show other people, get a bit of feedback, you know, get some ideas, share some ideas. But also the other option is to join in with an activity that Alison created. And this week, the art club decided that they would go back and have a look at an activity that Tracy did on a previous show, Together Unlocked, back in, I think, it was the week of International Women's Day, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And we had
yeah.
your paper rosettes decorating the set. So I'm not going to put the whole thing up because the art club's only just started, but I'm just going to put a picture up of the materials you need and get Tracy to talk it through.
Yeah, I think one of our big sort of ideas are that we can try and use as many things as we've got in the home, particularly at the moment as we're not getting out. So I had got a collection of magazines that it could be, you know, leaflets that have come through the door, old newspapers, you know, anything that you've got in the house, and upcycle it really. So got some magazines, pair of scissors, and a hair bubble or a small elastic. And voila, we have a rosette.
And do you want to just audio describe the rosette for us?
Yeah, and in the rosette, basically I've made it by concertining, selecting the pages that I wanted, so the colours that I knew would pop out at the edges. So I think I've gone for about 4 or 5 sheets of paper and concertinaed that, and then basically just put an elastic in the middle. And then what I do is just gently pull those layers up so that it creates a nice sort of layered, it gives you the depth of the rosette. What I didn't actually say is when you've got it concertinaed, I just curve the edges of the paper, and then that gives it a nice flow, and then, you know, it gives it that movement, that up and down feel at the edges. Yeah.
So this is Sadiq just beginning to start. So Sadiq is holding up the piece of paper that he's managed to fold. As you say, it's pleating it, isn't it? Which is
Yes.
more complicated than it sounds. And then he's got it as far as the bend in the middle.
Mm.
And then this is Crystal, who's got one perfect piece, which I think she's I think she would be at the point when she would be about to start pulling out the layers,
Yeah.
but in itself, that's a really nice image, and I think that's just a piece of junk mail. But you can really enjoy the sort of blues and the pinks and the greens. So if you're interested, now it's doing what it's supposed to do again. If you're interested in joining the art club, then do get in touch. It's info@together2012.org.uk. And something I really want to stress, simply because of something I saw on social media about another project yesterday, you don't have to be available to come to every club. It was really important to us when we started that each session is complete in itself. It's not an institution, it's not compulsory. You don't get penalized if you have a life, if you don't feel well, you don't feel like it, you have an appointment, and goodness knows, as disabled people, we have a lot of appointments. That is absolutely fine. And I was really shocked, although perhaps not surprised, to discover that people are still throwing people out if they're not able to come to every session. So we don't want you to do that. We want you to enjoy the whole of your life and incorporate your creative side at the same time. So yeah, if you think, well, I can only get to that once a month, or well, I might only be well enough to do that once every 2 months, that's absolutely fine. Get in touch anyway. And also, of course, have a look at the website. We have the Join In with Tracy page just under the main Join In from homepage, which has also got lots and lots of activities. And we put new activities up every week. We also have, if you prefer to just basically watch rather than having to follow written instructions, although we do put in photographs as well. We have our page of films from Join In with Stera, and Stera has a new activity for us this week. I'm going to pop it on in a minute, and I'm going to do a bit of audio description afterwards so we don't give the whole thing away. But Stera is shielding with Hannah Facey, who's voicing and filming this up in Norfolk. So they've been sending us films back from there for quite some time. So this is this week's film from Stera.
Oh, hi, I'm Stera, and this is Merlo the dog. I made a photo of a bike. I love cycling. I was lying down with Merlo in the photo of the bike. Bye. Bye.
Just to audio describe that now, Stera introduced the film when she was sitting indoors on the sofa with Merlo, the assistant's dog, next to her. Merlo is a black Labrador autism support dog. And then they went outside, and simply by picking up things that were lying around in the back. So they had an old cable spool, a circular barbecue, and some sticks of wood. And Stera arranged them so the spool and the barbecue with the wheels. She put the sticks of wood to create the frame and then lay there as if she was riding it and had her photo taken. At one point, Merlot decided to come and join in and was licking her face, so it almost looked like he was riding on her head. I thought that was so clever for more than one reason. We talked a lot, I think it was last week, Stara showed us, or maybe the week before, some eco art, which is always defined as art that comes from nature and is part of the land and doesn't destroy the land or leave any traces. And I think just picking up things and doing that. But I've also seen on Instagram there is quite a craze for making it look like you're doing something else and filming it from above. So I think that was a really interesting take on this Instagram craze, because I've never seen anybody do it quite like that, which is what I also always say about Stara and Hannah. They're just so imaginative. You can see all of Stara's Join In with Stara films on our website on the Join In with Stara page. But now it's time to move on to this week's Clockwork Paralympics. And I'm delighted to say that our hopeful medal bearer is a brand new teddy bear that was given to me for my birthday, and I think is the best teddy bear ever. So it's a lovely soft honey colour. It has a little red headband and it has a blue tracksuit top, and it says winner. I'm trying to find the bits that don't give the name of the shop. And it comes with its own medal. It has its own gold medal, and helpfully, it's also been made a special Together 2012 medal. So it has its medals whether it wins or not. And before you think that, oh, they're a bit old to have teddy bears, no. I realised at 59, the only number you actually had to hear was the 5. This is my best birthday teddy ever. But more seriously, we have always been taking part in the virtual bear hunt, which has been running now for a very long time. And for any children taking part, if you're able to stick a teddy on your own live stream or Zoom, it is just great for them to be able to spot another one. So, who hopes to wear the medal in the West Midlands?
So this is Baby H, of a particular brand that was favoured by the surgeon at Offspring. So it is I'd say a golden teddy, very, very plush, very soft, and they are wearing a black kind of bow tie almost effect, or but certainly a bow around the neck, with some gold writing on it, which if you can read it, great, but I won't say what it says.
Yeah, ours is a posh bear as well this week. Actually, this teddy might be our medal wearer for some time to come, certainly until it actually gets yet another medal around its neck. But so we are back in the Paralympic pool, otherwise known as my walk-in bath. Robin pointed out last time that it has much higher sides than a real swimming pool, but I hate to break it to you as such a multi-gold medalist Paralympic swimmer, but this is more of a toy thing. Not expecting them to get in and out of the bath under their own steam. So try not to worry about it, because when I was filling the bath up to do this series of films, I thought I cannot put more water in just so Robin doesn't get disturbed about the sides. Don't picture yourself swimming along with the clockwork crabs. All you have to do is decide, are you going to go for the right side of the screen or the left side of the screen? And all you have to do at home is decide the same thing. You've got a 50% chance of winning.
Okay, Tracy is going for the left side of the screen. So there we go.
And I'll get Robin to tell us the results. It's pretty much a sprint this time. It's a very short distance. What would the shortest distance be that Paralympians swim?
50 meters freestyle.
I think this is a 50-meter freestyle, definitely. Or in this case, it might be more of 5 feet.
All right, so we're off. We're ready. Oh, look at them go. Look at them go. Wow, this is a good race. Oh, that is amazing. nice to see them actually both making it all the way up the pool. But on this occasion, it was in fact the Commonwealth Commonwealth crab on the left side of the screen. I'm getting it all wrong now. I have to rerun it. Check I'm telling the truth. So much to the consternation of those in London who are concerned about our level of teddies we have against our gold medals. This gold medal this week is from Newham. This is our own version of the Newham medal that you have in London.
Just
Yay!
or at least it looks bigger
No, I
than
think it's the
ours.
same size.
Let's not get into that, shall we? That really would be ridiculous.
Although
Competitive. If you
ours is metal. Ours is definitely metal.
let's not even go there. Did the residents get an inferior medal to the tourists? Well, it's always possible, isn't it? Everything else was pretty much inferior, but we'll move on from that to our next item. If you'd like to play the Clockwork Paralympics at home, the race will be up on the highlights and links page. But now we move on to the week ahead and everything that there is available to do online and offline. And I wanted to start by reminding you there is already a lot of content, if you missed it the first time, to check out. In particular, our friends over at Disability Arts Online publish a magazine online every single week with news of disabled artists. And this is what you can find in the back issues from April.
This month on Dow. In Manchester, from Jan Mathausen, how our mental health is affected by the world around us. Four artists explore the argumented reality. Check out the cybergoth vibes. I definitely would. Heart and Soul, creating a world redesigned by learning disabled and autistic people. So closing date for applications is the 16th of May. People can apply for commissions of £200 and £500. The theme is connectivity. So here's a podcast I did with my mate Ian of 20 years. Yep, we've known each other that long. And so go check it out. And of course, check out our newsletter. Peace out.
And thank you for that, Dean at Disability Arts Online. That all looks absolutely fascinating. What else would you recommend for the week ahead, Robin?
Well, the first thing I've got is it is actually National Share a Story Month, literally the whole of May, and I think it's a celebration of storytelling. A lot of the link the link takes you to a particular website and looks a lot around storytelling for children. But actually, I think it's a really important thing that we don't do enough of. Not as a show, but I mean as a society as such. We in our homes with so much we watch telly and do things and watch great stories, but they have to come from somewhere. And I think the idea that actually stories start with the ones we learn as children, and then progress from there. And there's a huge resource of stories, and also takes you into like your own creative ideas and story writing competitions and all sorts of stuff. And this year's theme is myths, magic, and mayhem, which sounds like our house most of the time.
This sounds fantastic. Yeah, I spotted that as well. Julie, what would you recommend?
Well, I've been doing some reading of the Romantic poets. and I came across a virtual tour of the National Gallery and the paintings in the National Gallery, and I thought I'll look up some of the romantics. So I'm going to have a good old look around some of in more detail, some of the pictures that are hanging at the National Gallery.
Fantastic. I think it's Local Community History Month nationally. And within that, Newham has its second online Heritage Month. So, one of the things that I would recommend is East London Textiles are running free online workshops on a Wednesday and Thursday, late morning, lunchtime, inspired by the work of Madge Gill. And Madge Gill was a locally based artist and is described as Britain's best known self taught artist. She was very much of her period, so there seems to be a sort of level of mysticism, although that always clicks in as well. So she looks like a really interesting artist if you've not heard of her, but the workshops look absolutely great. The other thing I would suggest, if you're interested in Newham Heritage activities, check out the activities later in the month because there's very, very limited places for some of them and they are booking up fast. So that link and all of the other links will be on our highlights and links page, which, as we said, is under the main Together 2012 TV pull down menu. Tracy, what do you have for us?
Well, I've been thinking about self-help and mental health awareness, particularly because is it this week or this month that it's maternal mental health awareness. So what I did is I had a look at different apps. So it's an app on my phone, and it's an app called Balance. And Balance is it's usually a fee. There's usually a fee attached to this app, although it's an annual fee. But for this year, this app is absolutely free, and I'd recommend anyone that's got access to a smartphone to download it. It's an app all around self-care. It's got a mass library of activities that you can do. At the beginning, you do like a personalized survey, so they can link the things that you want to do, so that it recommends apps for you to use. And it goes through everything. There's the usual sort of things: anger, breathing, meditation. But also, I'd looked into some of the things on it about eating, and so I listened to the eat. I thought, eating, what's this app about? And I think it would be particularly useful for people that are on their own as well. I know lockdown's supposed to be coming to a finish, but for various reasons, some of us are still staying in and might be staying in for a lot longer. And
yeah, and I just wanted to add there that, of course, well, as somebody who's not left the house without help for more than 20 years, and I know I'm not alone in that, there's so many people out there who are home based anyway. And I think the journalist, Dr. Frances Ryan in particular, who has ME, I think, and has basically hardly left her room in the last 2 years, has been very clear that everybody should be aware that it isn't just that people are indoors because of COVID. We may be indoors anyway, and I think self-care in those circumstances is really difficult. And however well you certainly from my experience, however well I think I'm doing, I then realize yet again that I'm not. And I think this app seems an awful lot more useful than my smartwatch, which just goes off and beeps at inconvenient times. And when I rush to find out what it's telling me, it says breathe. I just think, how do I delete this?
Yeah, it's like having I would say it was like having another person there, because it talks to you. It talks you through it says go off, go and get your dinner, come back, pause the app, and then so it's a whole experience, so that you're not on your own, because it can be difficult. Going back to my own experience before I found this wonderful man that I've been married to for 30 years, when you're on your own eating, you can forget about eating quite easily for lots of different reasons, or just you're sitting on your own, you're on your own all day, you can't be bothered. This app is a bit of a let's eat together. I'm with you, you're not on your own. experience your food, enjoy your food. So I think for that purpose, it could be really useful.
Yeah, it all sounds very Harry Potter, so I'm quite fascinated. Again, that link, well, the details will be up and
Yeah.
then get it from the appropriate app store.
Yeah.
Just got a minute or two. Robin, Julie, what do you want to throw in to recommend?
I think Robin's got something.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a big one to finish with, but just the whole idea of moon. I mean, when I put this T-shirt on, thought about going to the moon and stuff. I think it was kismet kicking in with the poetry. Because the other thing I've got is actually to go on a kind of virtual tour of NASA Kennedy Space Center. I started thinking about the Rocket Garden, and I have had the privilege of being there. And you think, what's a rocket garden? But it's quite incredible. There's these huge rockets that people, they look minuscule, and they're basically effectively it's a massive bomb that stands however big tall, and people put themselves on the top of it and are brave enough to hope that they go somewhere on it. So there's I that bit of it, the human endeavor side of it, I find really fascinating. But obviously very few people can go to Florida anyway, and certainly even less many at this particular time in world history. But there are quite a lot of kind of YouTube videos of virtual tours of space center. So in the highlights and links section, there is a link to one, but it is a YouTube video. So what will happen is that if you watch that one, it will then suggest others of a similar ilk. So if you think, oh, I want to know a bit more about that, or click into something. So and I just thought, it's such a fascinating place.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stowaway is trending away on Netflix, and I watched that a couple of weeks ago. So I think you've got SpaceX rockets taking off and coming back. I saw the headline yesterday, without crashing. It said SpaceX takes off and returns without crashing, and I thought, well, that's progress, isn't it? But yeah, I think there's lots and lots of interest. Julie, did you have anything else for us?
I'm just suggesting the Visit London site, because it's got a virtual site to it, Virtual London. And I know, because I'm living in the town, well, out on the edge of the town, I miss it. I miss the river, I miss the sights, I miss the people, and I miss the energy. And I just thought, wow, this is an opportunity to just have a little look around my hometown, virtually.
And is it pre-pandemic? I mean, does it have empty streets and things and closed theatres?
It's very mixed. It's very mixed. Yeah, it's sort of, there's everything there, really. I love it. It's a really nice site, and it's one that I enjoy.
And if anybody fancies marrying that up with some virtual walks, we had a wonderful artist, Jess Starnes, did some virtual walks with us at our festival. In fact, our festival is still online, so you can watch that for yourself. Google Street View is a great way to go walking, and Jess really inspired me to do lots. So before we come back to Robin to recommend something else and introduce the final item, we would just like to draw the show towards its close by saying again, please do contact us if you're interested in joining one of our clubs. We've talked about the art club and the pop-up poetry club. On the second Monday of each month, we also have photographers and filmmakers club. That's being taken this Monday for, I think, the third month running by the artist Hazel Brill, who heads up our youth work. And what Hazel's doing is teaching stop motion animation, but also running the app via Zoom. So you don't need to have anything at home other than yourself and a Zoom connection. And you can still assist in making a stop motion animation, and indeed make one of your own from home with the magic of Hazel and Zoom. So that again is 11 to 12. And with all our clubs, it's everybody's included. There is no experience necessary. And there is a huge range from disabled people who've always wanted to take part in arts activities but haven't till now, to people who very regularly take part and are progressing, people who are mid-career, people who've come back to their art having been professionals after a long illness. It really is, about us all coming together based on the fact that everybody has something to teach and everybody has something to learn. So they're really supportive, positive atmospheres. They're not classes and they're not courses, they are very much clubs. So contact us, info@together2012.org.uk, or just look on our website, www.together2012.org.uk, and all of the club's information and the contact details are there. We will look forward to seeing you next week. And I'm then going to say goodbye from East London and hand over to Robin to introduce the last item.
Okay, I'm going to say goodbye as well. See you next week.
Well, hi everybody again. So I'm going to introduce you to an organisation. Some of you obviously may have heard of it before, but it's an organisation called Can Do Musos. Musos is a term that musicians who are kind of really into their music like to call themselves. It's just a kind of nice little name. We're musos. And Can Do Musos is an organisation set up primarily by a drummer in Australia called Andrew Hewitt. Now, we don't necessarily highlight impairments in the show, but in kind of context of how people play in the instruments they play, it is something that Can Do kind of not focus on, but make people aware of. So Andrew has cerebral palsy and is a drummer. So that's a challenge in itself. If you have coordination issues, trying to do something with all four limbs can present its own barriers. But it's much more, the whole purpose of Can Do is much more about actually saying, these are musicians. These are people who play instruments, write songs, whatever it is that they do within the sphere of music. And yet, despite their efforts and their talents, the industry gets in the way. Their impairment is seen as, they're seen as the drummer with cerebral palsy rather than the drummer. And so the whole point of the website has been to create a worldwide kind of contact network of disabled musicians. So it is a full website, and as a disabled musician, anyone can join, and it hosts loads and loads of videos. They've done things in various places around the world. They've selected the two main. There's another guy called Doug Film. I apologize, the name's gone out my head. I won't try and say it. He is in the video you're going to watch, who is a fantastic world-renowned drummer himself, who's gone, well, hold on, why aren't these musicians being recognized? So he's brought his own kind of weight as a musician into the argument, or into the into what goes on. Can Do Musos have been producing a kind of podcast stroke radio show, and they're literally on the verge of doing the 200th episode of it, so which is kind of really, really exciting. And so but specifically for this year, in kind of another challenge against COVID really, is that they are doing their first, what they've called their first ever festival. It's the Can Do Musos Festival 21. And kind of what they've done is they've drawn together over 60 disabled musicians from all over the globe into a approximately 2.5 hour film. And the video that's going to run in a minute is just a collage of bits of music from really a handful of the artists that are both Can Do Musos and part of the festival. So in terms of a description, it's actually the words that are said and where there are voices, and the music in itself are what the video is about, rather than the visual side of it as such. I mean, it's great if you can see it. But yeah, it's more about the music and going, well, these are our people, these are disabled musicians, showing what they do. So at that point, I'll say, video, please, director.
Just for one day, we can be heroes. We can be heroes.
Hello, I'm Dom Famularo. The great Chick Corea said, music is an antidote. We at Can Do Musos agree. We believe in the power of music to help overcome challenges, to lift our spirits, and how it helps us get through our toughest challenges and find our inner strength. We started this organization to give a platform to these great artists. Their passion and perseverance is inspiring.
In the spirit of the poem, I Angelou, most people will forget what you doing, what you say. Hey, let's be real. People remember how you make them feel. So doing to others was short to woe. Watch a billion acts begin to grow. Tomorrow's unknown, and that's okay.
Cut away your pain until and she from here and from. I know I stand in line until you think you have the time to spend a living with me. And if we go someplace to dance, I know that there's a chance you won't be leaving with me. And scream and shout if you try, if you're terrified. Hold on, nothing good came easy. Tell them you're alright. Your shine cigar. Es ist alles egal. Es ist alles egal. Es ist alles egal. Ja, scheißegal.
suffer the pain of the bullies and the bigots in the cruel, cruel world, who remain downtrodden and remain unheard. How many brothers have the rough